So with that, what have you been watching recently?
I've been watching to go on the Spider anime and rewatching Overlord.
Oh, nice, nice. I think Overlord's getting another season, isn't it?
I don't know. I just felt like we're watching it.
Yeah. A cool subject I saw.
What?
Is it wrong to pick up Girls in a Dungeon's getting season 4?
Well, I've been watching it. How season 3 ended.
Yeah.
It's definitely getting season 4.
Oh, damn.
It's caught up with the book.
Oh, God, that's gonna suck.
It's on you now.
So you think we're gonna get a filler ending? Or you think they're gonna wait for the book?
They're definitely not waiting for it. Season 4's confirmed. They're not waiting for the book.
Well, I think the writer might tell them some things.
No, the book in the anime has different continuities.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not much different, but there's differences.
Oh, that's awesome. I will have to read the books then at some point. But the anime is so damn good. Although, did you think season 3 was better than the other 2 seasons, or was it middle of the road?
It was slightly better. Just slightly.
Did it advance the plot in any meaningful way whatsoever?
A lot.
What?
Like, I mean, a lot.
Tastes like fermented herring dipped in cat piss.
What did Belle finally get laid?
No, it's like, it's literally, they had like a character named Weene, the monster, a sentient monster.
Oh, damn.
That was a whole war, like sentient monster. There's something called a Xenos.
Nice.
It's very much, it's like the sword princess, the person he likes.
Uh-huh.
Has an absolute hatred to like a complete hatred towards monster, and that actually did cause conflict.
Oh.
When she realized that was helping them get away.
Oh,
They got a ship then by a Minotaur.
oh my god.
Apparently,
That sounds
the
good.
Minotaur is a reincarnation of the Minotaur he killed in season 1.
I now really hope the dub comes out fast.
So very much, it's definitely going somewhere. The problem is that show has no good openings or nothing. Like, it's so fucking like so generic.
I will say the openings were very generic, but the show that comes with it is just amazing. So it doesn't really matter as much.
I like the fact like he does not have a harem technically. I remember Rose was saying his name. No, he doesn't. There's only one in the whole group. There's only 2 girls that actually love him. Like actually love him. Only 2. The rest of them just respect him.
I kind of think the Sword Princess will come to love him at the end, but I do think.
She's not part of the actual harem, but she does love him.
Well, I mean, she is technically part of the. She's not like a background character. She is a supporting cast member.
She wasn't there that much for season 2 or 3. She wasn't there that much.
Oh my
She was
god.
more of a background character.
Yeah.
But that's the point. She's just supposed to be a goal. Not even, she's a character, but she's more supposed to be like a goal than an actual character.
Yeah, I mean, and then the I forget the little dwarf's name, but yeah, she likes him, so we get. I hope.
But no, it's not like a love. It's more actually it is, and that's the one of the 2 that likes it. That's the one of the 2 that does.
Yeah, and
Actually, love
I really hope that this gets a payoff.
the third chick, the samurai, the ninja one.
Mm-hmm.
She just respects him. That's what it is. She just respects him.
Oh, they'll totally give her a moment sometime in the future that's
Oh
like,
no! She actually loves someone else. She actually does love someone else.
oh damn,
They confirmed as 1.
oh damn,
Literally 1. Her and a god love each other.
oh dude, the gods. I wish they would do a prequel of just the gods because they are so funny.
And they prequel show, the Sword Princess show.
Oh
It's
nice.
supposed to show how the Loki and Freya, really how they rise in power. That's the point. It showed you actually Belle's grandfather.
Nice.
Because his grandfather's not really his grandfather.
Yeah,
Just took him in.
he's like a god. Wasn't he a god or something?
literally Zeus.
Oh, nice.
That's why Hermes just constantly watched them. Zeus asked him to.
Oh, nice.
Zeus and his wife, Hera, were technically into two strong familia for those two.
Oh, nice.
They were this.
So that begs the question of why did Belle not get put in Zeus's familia?
Because he was literally a baby, like a little kid,
Okay. But I mean, you'd assume that they
he
still do
literally
that.
was ran out. No, he was literally ran out by Loki and Freya.
I honestly hope we get a satisfying fight between the gods at some point.
They're not gonna fight their outlaw too. There's the one god. Actually, no, they might be fighting now because there's more. The people are starting to question the guild. But people are actually starting to question the guild now. Like actually question.
Oh, nice. Do you think that'll be what the final arc consists of?
The guild falling apart.
Yeah, and like war.
To be honest, truth, because that's not the only place the familiars are at. There's other familiars. It's honestly what's it called? Let's say Ares familiar, and that's outside of the town. Means they don't run on the same. He does not run on the same jurisdiction as them. He's not part of the thing. He doesn't follow the same rules. He doesn't have to.
I'd almost be interested to see what the world is like outside of the town.
They saw a couple episodes of season 2.
Oh yeah, we did, but like we didn't see a lot of it.
But no, that's the point. Like, it's not much out there unless you're in the actual city. There's not much out there.
Yeah.
There's monsters are everywhere out there.
Which
The
begs,
reason why the town is protected is because of them scales.
it almost makes you question why do people not venture outside the walls of the town then to go hunt monsters?
Well, they really want the dungeons to stop them from coming out in the first place, because that's a lot of them coming out to come out of the dungeons.
Nice.
Because they're born in the dungeon.
Oh, nice.
Oh, hell yeah, I had Clone Wars era. I'm a clone.
Oh, nice. Nice. But, yeah, that's an anime I hope gets a decent ending when we get there. Because, there are so many animes that fall flat on their face with an ending.
Like Soldier's one of them.
Oh
It's
my
a great
god.
anime that has the one of the worst endings.
The problem is, if they would have split that into 2 seasons, they would have been perfectly fine, because when they started the anime, the manga was 2/3 over.
You undead flesh monkeys.
So, it was basically, the only reason we got that weird, flimsy cardboard cutout of an ending is because they didn't feel like splitting it into 2 seasons.
I thought they did split it into 2 seasons. They technically have 3 seasons, but the 3 seasons are the 3 arcs of the show, the 3 arcs.
No, it's 52 episodes. It's a 1-season thing of 52 episodes.
Like, they split it, Netflix split it into 3 arcs.
Yeah.
The show was only 3 arcs.
But in fact, they considered it all 1 season, 1 series, mind you, because that was
Like, I feel like the Dragon Ball Super is technically 1 series, like 1 season. But the only split apart is by arcs. That's why when you buy DVD sets, it's split into arcs. Or technically, I keep forgetting Dragon Ball go by sagas, not arcs. It's like the few animes that does sagas.
And Dragon Ball has an issue where it is confusing as shit where some of those sagas start and end. Like, so if you watch the original Dragon Ball Z sets, good luck. Some of that is confusing.
The Android Saga and the Cell Saga are actually 2 different sagas. The Android and Cell are actually 2 they're after each other, but they're actually technically 2 different sagas. Like the Namek Saga and the Frieza and the Ginyu Saga and Frieza Saga are actually 3 different parts.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't really
Yeah.
know that specifically. No.
Yeah.
But no, it's just like the
Dragon Ball has
sets,
a weird thing. They're actually very weird.
yeah, the sets are just rather confusing. Confusing with it, like
That's why there's so many seasons of Dragon Ball Z. That's the reason why there's so many, because every season is a different saga or multiple sagas in one.
I will say that the way they originally cut the orange bricks, they are a mess of episodes.
Ammunition on the house.
Like no lie, they are the worst coupling of episodes ever. Here's 37 episodes of a random season, season, and hope it makes sense to you. Like
This is back when DVD were only thing. I bet you the new ones are better. They have Blu-ray. They go a lot more.
I've watched the Blu-ray sets. I don't own them, but Randy, my older brother's friends do. And I will tell you, the visual quality still looks like utter dog shit. But the
Yeah, because they literally said 4K HD. It's literally the same quality. With a filter.
it looks like utter dog shit. Like the green in Namek is utterly disgusting to look at on the Blu-ray sets, but
4K actually, not 4K, but the 1080p actually makes it look worse than it was before.
yeah, the green becomes this weird shade of blue, and it's kind of off. It's kind of off-putting, and it doesn't fix a lot of the weird animation mistakes. But yeah, they are slightly better with the amount of episodes you get.
About this. Sorry, cutting you off.
Oh no, it's fine. Fine.
No, it's actually elements. This is a real one.
Yeah.
It's not only that they don't do nothing. They just take the filter. Like with 1080p and 4K, no, they're doing. They just took the filter off and put a new one on. And it actually makes it fucks up the colors. They don't do nothing else. They just put a filter over it.
And you can definitely see that it is a filter sometimes because it just looks utterly like shit. You can tell when things have been reworked to look better. Kai is a way better looking experience than Dragon Ball Z. Like, oh my god, people said, oh, that all they did was recolor some of the old sequences of Dragon Ball Z. No.
No, they actually full reanimated it.
Yeah, you can absolutely tell. An episode of the Frieza fight from Dragon Ball Z is utterly unwatchable when you've seen the Kai version.
The Kai version is more accurate and a lot slower.
It's only about 12 episodes in Kai.
Yeah, because you know why?
Because they cut
out a lot of points. I know one thing. I don't know. I think Kai kept some filler.
Yes,
They were the good fillers, but they weren't like the bad fillers, the good fillers.
Oh, they cut out the driving episode. I remember that. I remember that. They didn't stop to do the driving episode. The weird filler they did keep though was when Bulma became a frog.
Wait, that was a thing? I can't remember.
That was when Ginyu like had his main body die and Goku threw a frog into the air. It's like right before the Frieza fight. Yeah. That's a random bit of filler that just still exists in Kai for some reason. It is just the weirdest possible thing. But at least it was only like an episode long.
I'll say with Dragon Ball, you know how much I love it. It just needs to end or completely reboot with new characters.
I personally would like to see them reanimate the original Dragon Ball and then be done with it.
Yeah. You not just do what they did with fucking Dragon Ball Z and just add a filter.
Oh,
like
yeah.
full on reanimate and re-voice act.
Well, the problem is, now that we've lost the original Bulma voice actor, I don't think they would... I don't really think they would re-voice act some of those lines. I would think it would be a respect thing.
Because Goku's kid voice actor, English one is still there. She's still there.
Oh,
She has not left.
No, the Japanese voice actor for Goku, I'm not even sure would make it through all of Dragon Ball again. She's pretty ancient.
I think Toriyama just wants the series to be done. I think he just wants to be done.
It wouldn't surprise me because they've hit a ceiling so hard with Dragon Ball. They keep hitting the ceiling. And at this point, you're just hitting it over and over again to death. Like, how far can you possibly go past gods in other universes?
That's why I like the shows like JoJo and stuff where instead of being a power ceiling, it just stands. So you got new ways to fight people.
Yeah.
New ways.
It's not even like a power ceiling. It's like they've ran through all the scenarios that he could think of and reasonably get to with Goku and his friends.
At least they made one scenario that was interesting. Like two of them. There's only two, actually enough free. There's free scenarios in Super that are actually interesting. That was free. Universe 6 versus 7, that was interesting.
Yeah.
You got new people, like, unique fighting styles and shit, because it's a different universe. They don't fight the same.
Oh yeah,
They fight very different.
there are interesting moments
Also,
in modern.
well, so Goku Black Saga that whole saga was good. Evil, like a rogue Kai, Evil Kai, that's hide in plain sight.
Yeah, that was a kind of cool concept, but like, then you get some stuff like their utter butchering of the Dragon Ball Z movies. You know what I would have preferred to see instead of a butchering of Battle of Gods and Resurrection F? I almost would
Just go
have.
straight to 7.
No, I would have honestly preferred them to go back and make some of the Dragon Ball Z movies canon, or at least try to.
At least made one early. I made him canon, actually.
Oh,
His
yeah.
movie was actually good. His movie was good. I like the fact that movie they actually had to hype it up where apparently Broly strong enough to him and Gogeta, Super Saiyan Blue, strong enough to break time and space itself.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that's a cool moment, but like what I would have loved to see become canon, because tell me this was not a cool movie. Wrath of the Dragon, the final original Dragon Ball Z movie, was an amazing film.
And they felt like it wasn't like a noble enemy. They weren't like fighting a noble enemy. I mean, more interesting. It wasn't like something noble.
Sweetness.
You have to fight Renegon a certain way to beat them.
Oh yeah, it was so cool, and you could totally make that work somehow.
Oh, great. This again.
Especially with Toriyama's declaration of everything in Dragon Ball is technically canon.
Because of multiverse.
Yes. So it's like, it would have been so much cooler to see like Harunagon, Darnagan, and Tapion, rather than butcher the crap out of them.
That's arc on Dragon Quest. They built themselves based on a character that never was made. Like, they never used Dragon Quest. That's where it came from.
It wouldn't surprise me, but the thing is, I personally think Dragon Ball Super really shot itself in the face in the early seasons by the fact that they chose to reanimate on a TV show budget 2 blockbuster films. Of course, it's going to look shittier. And that is what people did. I don't think a lot of people understood that it was a story choice, but it just didn't make sense.
It is honest truth. I would rather them start like turn this into Universe 6 and 7, me and jump on shit right away.
And it's like, you can totally, if you wanted to, you could skip the majority of the first 2 seasons of Super and miss nothing. Just watch the intro, the last 2 Dragon Ball Z films. And you could probably get the same plot, just slightly different.
In a better version, like a quality version.
I will say Resurrection F is kind of a shitty film, but like, even I can tell you, the animation of the film version makes the plot way more bearable.
Because they actually tried more with the animation in that one.
Oh yeah, it's just... And the funny thing is, I have not seen that...
I want to do a side series, Dragon Ball Super back. I want to ever do like a reboot or a side series. I want to know about like a Universe 6 one. Because Universe 6 characters were interesting, they were.
Yeah, I feel like we might get more exploration of like the different concepts Toriyama set up when Toriyama dies.
But you know what the thing about Super was, or then one Super was supposed to be a thing? And then he said we brought it back. No one's gonna be about. It wasn't. He was actually going to just take out. And the Super was actually supposed to be where Goku and Vegeta had their final battle, pretty much. Had their final battle. Well,
Oh
and
yeah,
make it about different characters. Because that would have been better. That would have been a much better concept. No, like.
because you could
You don't
find...
have to worry about stuff. You got new characters now. Someone that's so broken that are like, how do I get someone to challenge him?
Yeah, Goku at this point has hit the ceiling so hard that it just does not make sense to keep him as the main character anymore. Even Gohan, in theory, at this point in the story, could make a far better character or main character.
Or maybe just change the whole, or do the Universe 6 thing where it's still Universe 6 characters. Since people in Universe 6 are much stronger than Universe 7, like the actual people, forms in it are much stronger, actually, because they're taken care of much better. Something like Frieza doesn't exist. Or it isn't Phantom Frost, he's also around in Frieza, but he works differently.
Yeah,
He actually calls his equal.
it'd be interesting to see. I would like to, in a reboot of Dragon Ball, I would honestly like to see the relationships explored far better. Because they just jokingly do a lot of the romantic shit on the shows, in the chapters and TV show, and it really rings hollow when you have these big moments like, oh, Goku has a son, and it's like, okay, but you don't see Chi-Chi.
Someone doesn't know what sex is.
Yeah, it's weird. It's super weird when you stop and think about it. Like, Videl gets pushed into the background, despite being a main player in the early parts of Buu. And Chi-Chi pretty much fades into obscurity as soon as you finish that tournament arc where she fights Goku.
I'm not sure. I don't think Toriyama likes animating or making female characters. But I don't think he likes making female characters.
He literally forgot Launch existed. That is why she is exclusive. That is why she is exclusive to the Dragon Ball part of the manga. And you never see her in Z unless it's in filler in the anime.
I saw one episode. It was the same one slight scene. Like, I think he remembered her for 1 second.
That's actually a filler. Yes, the anime staff remembered her far longer than he did. She's also in like the final chapters of the original manga run. She's among the people that give Goku her energy for the Spirit Bomb to kill Buu. Like, I remember that vividly, so that is a thing that I believe happens. You see 17 and then you see her.
That makes you think. I think he forgot Cell existed. I think he forgot Cell existed.
It wouldn't surprise me. He made a lot of villains that kind of feel the same. Boo and Cell share the exact same power set.
But Cell felt like a very different character. He actually felt unique. His character itself felt unique. Like he was like, I'm the perfect life for you. I'm actually gonna prove it. Like, no way, I'm killing teammate. That's what I liked about him.
Yeah, Cell had a cool personality, but like Toriyama really abuses the I can heal anything villain.
Cell had a limit, actual limit. Boo didn't really have a limit. You had to actually destroy his goal to get rid of him.
Yeah, it's super weird when you stop and think about it, but Toriyama, for 2 story arcs in a row, created a villain with the exact same power set.
Well, Cell can actually, only if Cell can actually steal techniques, like actually steal techniques.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, but Boo technically could too. Boo got the intelligence of whoever he absorbed. So
yeah, that's why I like Boo as much. He felt like a shittier version of Cell. That's like, to me, he felt like a shittier version of Cell.
It almost feels like a screw you to the editors of the time, how Boo was. Boo is literally a rip-off reskin of Cell. Just slightly less cool and less thought out. You notice how later in Boo, the plot stops being anything big or like life-threatening. It just kind of becomes, here's a barren wasteland, fight in it for the next 50 chapters.
I think that's back in time where he was legitimately pissed off by his editors and shit.
Oh yeah.
It was originally because he was pissed off by his editor because there was a fat man. He's like, I'm fucking pissed.
Yeah, and I definitely see it. In the writing of the Boo Saga, he is definitely not on his A game. The Boo Saga is arguably one of the worst things he wrote. It is probably the worst saga in all of Dragon Ball Z, but it's still so much better than the Namek Saga. Because I didn't see it as often, thus I do not have the same level of distaste for it.
Like this, my most favorite saga is just, I think Dragon Ball Z was at its peak, to be honest. Truly, it's like Android Cell Saga.
And I believe in the theory he wanted to end it after Cell.
Yeah, because how Cell ended. Like, he actually didn't want to, the reason why he made Super because he got pissed off at GT's evolution. That actually legitimately pissed him off.
I mean, I would be pissed too. Evolution is a absolute dumpster fire.
The game is amazing because it's so bad, the game itself.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the game was good, but like, you can't redeem the film. The film is utter shit. I don't understand it. It's like you look at modern day anime films like Ghost in the Shell, like which I think is an amazing film. The one with Scarlett Johansson. And then you look at what we got in the mid 2000s and early 2010s. We got utter shit back then. It almost astounds you. It almost astounds me that they haven't tried to rip off Yu-Gi-Oh or something with the live action film.
I'm like this, I'd say too.
What?
People are like, Akira's a good movie. Akira's a good movie. Like, I watched it once and I'm like, this is not fucking good. This is shit. I didn't like it at all. Akira, the one where how Tokyo got destroyed by a person on television. So I'm like, I don't give a fuck. It's not a good movie, yeah.
I thought it was. I thought it was okay, but like, I'm sure that if I read the book and knew the actual plot far better, I would like it far better. You see, the movie came out at a time period where the manga was not finished. So, what you got in the movie was like 4 volumes worth of material, and then like a fillerized ending.
No, I'm sure it's one of the things like it should have waited. Like like JoJo and Don't Make Crybaby did not have a good anime until many years later.
Same with Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter
because
was
it had
shit.
animation finally caught up to it.
Yeah, Hunter x Hunter had the hilarious issue of the animation was really stilted, and it was like 26 episodes, and then they went into filler because they didn't realize the guy that wrote Yu Yu Hakusho is probably never going to finish his second series.
Is it Hunter x Hunter?
Yeah, Hunter x Hunter is his second series, or at least his second big serialized series. And he will probably never finish that.
I have a feeling it's the Fairy Tail second series is gonna get finished. Like, it's not gonna ever get finished. Pretty much know the show really is, the show that I've been seeing. It's like Fairy Tail, but in space. Like, it's no joke. It's different. I'm not even joking. On magic, they stop an accident, like this, like, oh no, Urza's now a cowboy space power with the same abilities, just without magic.
You know what you should watch, dude, if you think that is similar to Fairy Tail? Watch his first series. If
that's the case, and he doesn't know how to make, I don't think he just knows how to make shit, I don't think he knows how to make anything else.
Watch Rave Master. That shit is hilariously samey to Fairy Tail. The main girl is literally Lucy if she was a brunette. And instead of using magic, used gun batons.
Pretty much just now you're just using space stuff now.
Yes, that just sounds so fucking stupid. I just imagine it like, instead of gate keys like Lucy has, it's just, I open the airlock.
Or just have robots that she summons from like a bottle or something.
I don't know. That just sounds so. Oh my god, it's so stupid sounding, and I'm sure the straw man for Natsu is just hilarious. It's like I like
that,
but that's so shit. That is so.
It's the truth. Like, I'm gonna watch Burn the Witch. I heard good things about it. Burn the Witch.
Yeah, it's I read the manga.
Does it feel Bleach, or does it actually feel at least different?
It feels definitely very different, but there are very, very few scattered references to Bleach throughout it.
But that makes sense. That's his first series I did very well. Like, the first time I did it, it's like one of his biggest series. I don't think he's gonna reference it a little bit.
Oh no, it's actually set in the same universe.
It is?
Yes, it is. Reverse London, which is the setting of Burn the Witch, is our western branch of the Soul Society.
Oh, so there's actual branches and shit, and how they function, how they fight is very different, I'm assuming.
Yes, like how in Bleach they have a Zanpakuto, which literally translates to Soul Cutter. They have like three different kinds of things in Burn the Witch. There's pipers, which have this weird flute-like thing. thing, and then I believe there is a sword division.
Or areas version of hollows, like demons or some shit. Or,
Their version of hollows is what they call dragons. Which, if you are attacked by a dragon, your soul becomes infected, and you attract more dragons. So yeah, and you don't really get special powers from that, as far as everyone can tell. So you just become.
Hollows are from what's it called? Limbo and Hungry Dimension. It's based on Buddhism and shit.
Yeah.
Different shit's based on.
Yeah, Reverse London so far is the western branch of the Soul Society, and there are it has a ranking system too, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's similar to Soul Society, but not really.
I'm assuming is it more stable than Soul Society itself? It's actually more stable.
It seems like it, but from 4 chapters, you really can't tell a lot from the stability of the place. And you see, he's not serializing it until Bleach comes back.
So I'm curious, are we going to see references of Burn the Witch in the new season of Bleach? See references of it?
Maybe.
Do you see any characters from Bleach and Burn the Witch?
Not yet, no. But I assume, because if I remember right, it takes place 12 years later. So it's an offset sequel series. I imagine we'll see Rukia and Renji's kid, and Ichigo and Orihime's kid at some points.
I'll be honest, if that's interesting. Technically, hollows are unique to their area, like Japan area, so it's unique there.
Well, I actually wouldn't be surprised if, because the way they described it is like the Eastern branch and Western branch. I would not be surprised if all of Asia had the Soul Society.
And pretty much in Europe and America has Burn the Witch branch. They're dealing with different monsters. They're dealing with different kind of monsters.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if their world worked on whatever religion was the primary one in that region is what the hell the monsters are based off of.
That could work. That could be interesting. Where you go Ireland and Scotland and be Fae and shit, because Celtic and shit, so be Fae, yeah.
I don't know. Considering
those figures are cool.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, but I don't think Kubo will ever get as far as to show us every single branch. Because keep in mind, it took us a decade and a half to get through just explaining the Soul Society story. It'll probably take him at least.
See, the problem with Soul Society is, I think what made it so interesting that it showed one flaw. Soul Society had one huge flaw.
The fact that it sucked for the people.
And the fact that it's extremely unstable.
And the fact to think about it, I would like to have Bleach powers, but I would totally hate to live in the Soul Society.
Yeah.
The Soul Society would have to suck.
I'm curious about one thing. How are dragons made?
That's a thing I do not believe they explained to us. Like I said, it's pretty much 4 main chapters, and then he does what they call a one-shot. One shot was to prove the concept of the series would work, and then the 4 chapters were released right around the time they gave us confirmation about Bleach coming back.
I'm gonna be honest, Sheriff. Since it's definitely getting a good reputation, it might actually be a full-on series. It might.
I think he intends to serialize it as Bleach. The Final Year Blood War arc is running on TV.
Yeah, it's getting good attention. It's definitely getting good attention. It's not like it's a bad series. It's getting good.
Oh yeah. I would not be surprised.
So I bet you afterwards they're gonna explain how dragons are made, how they're made, because they're not just popping out. No, they're usually made.
Yeah, and
something else.
And what the crazy part about this is, I know for a fact he'll continue it somehow because he leaves you on a cliffhanger in the 4th chapter of Burn the Witch, And the way they explained it before was before the series was fully done, or like the 4 chapters we got, he explained it would be a seasonal manga. But I don't see him doing that forever. I think he will eventually serialize it as a weekly.
Because it seems like it's set in the same world, but the stories seem like to be very different
Oh yeah.
from before.
And the thing is, it's super funny. Where the guy for Fairy Tail cannot do a different character to save his life, Kubo did this ingenious idea. Take pretty much Hiyori from Bleach, the visor that really hates hat and clogs. You remember the lieutenant of Squad 12 when he first got there?
Yeah.
You take her like agitated personality, and a little bit of her design, but like just the way her body is built and the structure of her hair and color of it, and you slap that onto a team with Lady Byakuya, with like gender bent Byakuya.
Weapon is low on honor.
Let's say he could definitely make new characters on the fly, no problem.
Oh yeah, and they definitely feel different from what I just described, but like design wise, there's Lady Byakuya and Hiyori, which are really fucking funny together. What? And the nicest part of all is you can definitely tell he's healed a lot since the end of Bleach, because his art style is no longer as rough and jagged as it was at the end of Bleach. So you can definitely tell he's enjoying drawing again.
Vengeance waits for no ammunition.
So it's definitely a good indicator for that, and I'm happy for him. He honestly deserves to do another series.
Tide tips in our favor.
But I'll tell you a franchise that might need to end because they are running kind of low on ideas is the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. But that is but yeah, Burn the Witch also might be pretty. I think the anime, I haven't seen the OVA for that yet, but that should be pretty good too. Like they just did that like over Halloween.
So pretty much, that's how I say that's a real talent. The creator Bleach has to make unique characters and shit.
Yeah, at least in my opinion, he's definitely one of the best at it. But another thing that I have to say is he did kind of copy his own power system a little bit with Burn the Witch, because
It's a world, so it's a little different.
yeah, it's not a bad copy job, but like Keto became sort of like spells. I think they straight up called them spells.
Well, Keto is spells. That's what Keto is, it's spells.
Yeah, I'm saying, but it's more a direct version of spells in Burn the Witch.
So it's like actual, it's like spells like Final Fantasy Black Mage kind of spells and shit.
Yeah, like they have a gun style thing called a piper, if I remember right, that they like do enchants for, and then it just fires stuff. So it's not like barehanded like Bleach could sometimes pull off.
Well, different monsters, different rules.
Yeah. Although it does make you wonder, the whole time I was watching it, I always did wonder, could someone from the Western branch use a Eastern branch technique like Keto?
Probably. She's using the same engine, so probably.
That would probably be the coolest thing to see at some point. That would be the main reason I would want to see a Bleach crossover, to see a Powers crossover. What?
Already add to life for now.
The weird thing is, it doesn't necessarily. I would assume it is because it says the Western branch of the Soul Society, but like, they really don't give you a lot of clarity with that. It's just straight up called Reverse London, which is like a thing, but no one sees Reverse London from the main side of London. So it's kind of kind of up in the air for that, but yeah, I would assume it is the afterlife. But people can go between the worlds fairly easily. Yeah, you should like you
Same
should.
time, that makes you wonder one thing.
What's,
Squincy's biome bows and stuff, maybe it came from a part of the eastern area, the western area.
that's a possibility because
It
if
wasn't like Japanese style. It wasn't like Japanese style battle. It's more Western style battle fighting.
well, yeah, my assumption is if you remember, I don't know if you read like the absolute final chapters of Bleach, but when you get explained to the second in command's backstory, it's definitely heavily pulling on German folklore. So, I mean, it's definitely. I would assume that they came from Germany.
It felt like it says it obliterates the soul, not cleanse. So it's more hints that it might be something that's used to kill dragons, not hollows.
Originally hollows, yeah. I imagine they might have migrated at some point. Like, it makes sense that they would migrate, but yeah, they probably have to stick with that.
Technically, think about it. I found feeling normal humans to have a spiritual power probably could use Quincy abilities. Probably could. Not abilities, but use their items and stuff if they have soul power themselves.
Well, what always kind of fascinated me with how Bleach ended, because at the end of Bleach, because of the bullshit the final villain does, pretty much every Quincy aside from Uryu is dead. So, my great question would have always been, I wonder why Uryu just doesn't train a new generation of Quincy's then. So it might be genetic. Like, Quincy's definitely seem to be a genetic thing. I think the closest...
Techniques were not originally genetic. They might have been techniques. The items are probably genetic, but their techniques are probably not genetic. The techniques themselves. It looks like it's more Western style and stuff. How they fight is more a Western style fighting.
I don't know, considering that the way it kind of looked was that a majority of the flashbacks for the Quincy's in the final arc are set like 70 plus years ago. So in that time, you figure Uryu's dad was born. They were already in Japan by the time his grandfather rolled around. So there is that, and I'm not exactly sure.
That makes you also. It also makes you think this. If they're, I'll say, because the leaders, or if they're from Germany and stuff, it could have been. It could eventually turn into the technique now are genetic, but the original versions or not genetic.
Well, I think what happened. I think they do explain that Quincy's, a lot of their abilities come from the original guy who was a shard, who is like associated to the Soul King somehow. A lot of that came from like him dividing his soul and making it so everyone had powers. And that's why Ichigo's mom dies because at the moment she went to access her powers to kill Grand Fisher, Yuha's original holy selection kicked in and stripped every non-pure Quincy at the time of their powers. And Misaki, technically because she has a hollow in her soul, was considered non-pure.
Oh wait, so his mom was actually hollow?
Well, she got attacked by Hollow, and Ishin suppressed the Hollow inside her soul with his Shinigami powers, and that's why he couldn't transform for a long period. They explain that the only reason that Ishin gets his powers back at all is because Ichigo eventually got so powerful it broke the seal. You see, as soon as Ichigo was born, the seal got passed down to him.
Well, why did his sister have ability to see ghosts, so I think she might have some of it too.
Oh yeah. There were theories out the wazoo during the final arc's serialization that we were going to see her bust out a Quincy bow. And it just never came to be.
But she definitely inherits something. She definitely did inherit something. That's definitely not hiding it.
Oh yeah, it would have been nice to see what we got from what she could have been. But I think I really don't know what Kubo was thinking when he designed her, because
There's a few characters I feel like he did forget about. I think he did. There's a few I think he did believe. I believe he did forget about.
oh yeah, there are plenty of characters. The only reason that Tatsuki and Ichigo's human's friends existed were mostly so Aizen could have people to terrorize in the Deicide chapters. You know, where he walks around the city for like 30 chapters while Ichigo trains for the final Getsuka.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the main reason why I believe they existed. They were to tether you to they were to show you a normal setting for the first arc and a half of Bleach, and then immediately they were dropped so that you could focus on the fantastical.
Only one thing, it did show off one thing on Bleach. You get soul abilities, they do get abilities.
Well, they sort of do and they sort of don't. Both Chad and Orihime, you could honestly argue they're full brains.
I'm trying to talk about the other person. The dude from season 1. The TV show dude, he actually got soul abilities, he got powers.
Oh yeah, oh my god. Don Corleone, I think was his name. And he's a character. Jesus Christ, he's dead.
But no, it brings up the question. He has soul abilities.
Oh, I think, yeah. Oh my god, I remember the one scene where he actually redeems himself in canon was the episode he tries the weird spirit ball he can do on Aizen. And it basically disintegrates on contact.
But that was actually a thing?
Yes. I do not remember if it's anime only or not, but that's a thing that happens. He tries to throw a spirit ball at Aizen, and it just disintegrates on contact. And he's like, fuck this shit, I'm out of here. Come with me, children. It was the funniest thing in the world at that time, but yeah, it's just weird. But yeah, that, in general, the one problem Kubo had was he does not know how to make a villain satisfying without making them ridiculously overpowered.
Now, some people can make weak villains that are more, like, very interesting, too.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like, both Aizen and Yuha Bak are incredibly overpowered characters. Yuha I think, literally has a scribe in his arsenal that is literally the everything. Which essentially means I can do anything.
I will use my
Like, it's insane. And the only drawback to the final villain's power is that at night, my power all goes to my second in command while I sleep. And I am completely powerless at that point. So
I think what it was, I think he realized he made him way too powerful. I was like, shit, how did we beat him?
And then the funny thing is, they do this ass pull moment because he got told he had to wrap up his series in like 10 weeks. He does this ass pull where it's like, oh, you take any Quincy that died in the Holy Selection has this silver form in their heart, and that can kill Yuha Bak. But it has to be fired by a Quincy straight into his heart. Yeah, like seriously, they don't explain it well, and it's literally just brought up in a chapter and thrown into Uryu's arms. And you are expected to just be like, cool.
It sounds like he was forced to end it, and that really does sound like he was actually forced to end this series early.
And it feels like it. It really does feel like it. 200 chapters was not a big enough timetable to tell a big war story like he wanted.
I remember this. It wasn't like, I remember the whole part of the thing was not about Ichigo. It was about everyone else.
Well,
that was actually the idea of making about everyone else for once.
Well, the thing is, by the first 40 chapters, you are absolutely right. They're not about Ichigo. But when you get to 512, When Ichigo finally makes it to the Soul Society, realizes shit has gone down. There's a chapter where there is no dialogue. It is Ichigo storming through the Soul Society, pissed as hell, and then he finds Yamamoto, and then he finds Yuha Bach standing over Captain Yamamoto's body. And that is like, and then Ichigo tries to kill Yuha in that moment, only to realize Yuha curb stomps him and breaks his Bankai, thus sending him on a total fetch quest that lasts like 100 chapters to get a whole new sword made that eventually gets shattered as well.
What's the new sword you made?
Well, you see, because Ichigo's sword was made with Rukia's energy, it was an impure Zanpakuto, so it wasn't the true shape of the sword. The real shape of Ichigo's sword is a Bowie knife and a long sword in its Shikai, and then its Bankai is one giant, looks like the Bowie knife sword.
It's not a katana at all.
Yeah, it's like this big bulking thing that literally takes like 2 seconds to break. And then Tsukishima shows up and literally is like, your sword was never broken at all. And it literally fixes itself.
So it's probably a sword that's meant to break so it can do projectiles and shit.
Oh no. No, Tsukishima literally just fixes the sword for him. The sword was completely destroyed. And just Tsukishima shows up, uses Book of the End on Ichigo. And Ichigo then goes to storm off to fight the final fight.
So Bankai was never a speed Bankai then. There was never a speed then, huh?
I mean, it sort of was, yeah. It still had the same exact tendencies at the with the new sword. It was just the different shape. But it did give Ichigo a totally new technique when he got it. Because he now has two swords, he calls it Getsuku Kujisho, which is or something like that, and it's basically crisscross. He takes the Bowie knife. He comes
in generic. That's a joke. He comes in generic main character. He has two swords.
Yeah,
I'm stronger than why? Two swords.
Yeah, that's sort of what it feels like. He literally takes a sword. He literally takes the Bowie knife, cuts the air with it, makes a tiny Getsuku Tensho, and then just overlaps it with the giant blade, making it.
That's kind of dual wield then. That's like a normal dual wield.
Yeah, it's really cool, and you can like the few times he got to use the X-shaped Getsuku Tensho, it's really neat. It literally obliterates one enemy, if I remember right. It is so much stronger that it obliterates the enemy that he's fighting. It was the funniest. It was kind of crazy when I saw that. But that's the type of shit that Kubo decided to do in that final arc. On top of literally everybody that didn't get a Bankai before, pretty much got one revealed. Oh yeah, they are. But like, because it's been a little while, think about this for a second. The end of the Eisen arc and the start of the 1,000-Year Blood War arc are 20 months apart.
So Fullbringer's that middle point, I'm assuming then.
Yeah, the Eisen arc takes place about 18 months before the Fullbringer arc. And then it either picks up like immediately after the Fullbringer arc, or it picks up 2 months later. I forget which of the moment, but yeah.
It could actually be it could have been happening at the same time.
No, actually, they do explain that it was absolutely It was absolutely directly right after the Fullbringer arc, so it's definitely not like it happened before it. Rukia was there for the first invasion.
Oh, well, they should have made where it's the Fullbringer was not only Ichigo and shit, or the main character there. They should have done that and make it where it would make sort of what more first part made more sense why Ichigo wasn't there, since he was already busy dealing with something else. So he would not have known anything was happening.
It would have been nice, but I think it would have confused fans greatly to split the attention between two different story arcs.
Well, no, like, it wouldn't be that confusing. It would confuse them at first, and you realize, oh wait, this just happened. Fullbringer has happened. It's obviously no one knows what. So it would make sense why he wouldn't know this was happening.
The funny thing is, the way the 1,000 Year Blood War arc starts, Ichigo it doesn't start. The way it starts for Ichigo is a guy breaks into his bedroom, literally exclaims that I am Kurhei, something the jail, and the jailer or something like that, and takes him to Wako Mundo, traps him in a special spirit cage, and has like a little duel with him that lasts for like 10 chapters.
So wait, why is he? I'm getting confused. What the fuck?
Quincy shows up, literally is like, okay, taking Ichigo out of the situation, takes him to Wako Mundo, fights with him, traps him in a cage, and that's why Ichigo is not in the opening chapters of 1,000 Year Blood War.
That seems like a cop-out way to make him not be there.
It is sort of.
It literally is a cop-out way.
It is so.
My idea made more sense. Maybe where the person somebody never came, where it was just a fight on Earth, nowhere else.
Oh yeah, but
so Ichigo wouldn't know what's happening.
Yeah, that would have been a better way, but as it stands, it's just a really stupid way he integrated that. Oh god, it was.
He should have went that route where it said, "Oh, he was very busy with something else, so he wouldn't have known anything was happening."
But then again, he really wouldn't have gotten his Shinigami powers back had they done that route.
But that's the point. A Fullbringer, he just finds it. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting he doesn't actually have character. He doesn't really get character development. He does not get any ever.
Well, he has a flat character arc, really.
That's what I hate about Ichigo. He gets nothing. Like nothing new happens with him.